Hi, and welcome to SCS Celebrates 2019. We're here in beautiful downtown Toronto in a very hot and sweaty tent with all of the learners for this evening. I am Matt Devlin. I am a learning technology specialist. I work at the University of Toronto full-time. I'm also a part-time instructor. But tonight's not about me. Tonight is about our learners, and we have some very interesting learners tonight that we're going to get a little sneak peek of their lives. And our first one might be walking up right now. Hi, this is Eduardo. Eduardo, right?
Yes, Eduardo.
Correct. And Eduardo, I think you have a piece of paper for me. Let me just. So, can you tell me, why is this event meaningful to you?
For me, it was like the first step I took towards maybe shifting my career, because I have been working with the law for about 15 years, and I have been feeling a little disheartened. And recently, like in the past 4 or 5 years, like I rekindled my passion for languages and for studying languages, and so maybe this will be like a first step for me in like a career shift. And if not, like it always fulfills me to study languages and to learn about them. And
So, what actually started you getting interested in translation?
translation. It was like it was a process. Like it started very matter of factly, should I say? Like during the World Cup in 2014, it was in Brazil. Like
And you're from Brazil.
I am from Brazil, yes, and I attended the match. And I saw lots of signage in Cyrillic, like Russia was playing that match, and from there, like I thought, oh, I would like to know what it means, to learn that language, and from there I started studying languages again. I started studying Russian, and I started trying to practice French again, that I was studying at university a long time ago, and so from there I was thinking, like, if I had to move away from my current job and do something different that involved languages, dealing with the languages, what would be the like the perfect candidate? And I thought translation would be good for me, because it's something that I find very interesting, and at the same time it's something that I can start like dipping my toes in the water before really jumping. Like I don't have to quit my job to start, seeing if I have a future in it, and if it's something I can do professionally.
And hopefully you will. Well, thank you so much for coming in. Shake your hand. You can just walk out. And who do we have now? Hi. You could just say your name.
It's Ayushi.
Ayushi, sorry. I did learn everyone's names, but I forgot them. And so today we're asking about, is there anyone who supported you during your certificate that you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, sure. It's my parents. I want to give a shout out to them for encouraging me to not stop once I get a job and going forward and learning.
So how did that look on, say, a day-to-day? How did they encourage you maybe at the beginning when you were thinking about going to the certificate?
Helping me pay the tuition.
Of course, of course. And so what would maybe one study tip be for someone going into a course like what you took to help them get through?
I would say just go ahead and make sure that you're giving your 100% and not be scared of that your day-to-day life or your job is gonna not let you go forward with what you want, and be passionate about it.
And so what certificate did you earn?
Business analysis.
And do you want to be a business analyst?
Oh yeah, definitely.
But you're not currently.
No.
So how do you see this certificate playing into your future goals and your future career steps?
I would say that I'm currently working as a developer, so an analyst is something I want to go forward with, and the course helped me learn the basics and understand that some of the responsibilities I already have are same as a BA, and it won't be that a big of a jump or transition.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And our next guest, if you could just introduce yourself.
Sunil,
And what certificate did you take?
Data Science Fundamentals.
Data science. And I believe you've got a question for me here. So why is it important to never stop learning?
Well, I feel that, am I allowed to grab the mic or no? I feel kind of awkward just having it in front. For me, what I thought for myself, and I think this is popular with a lot of other people. I find that I get into a routine where I go to work, then come home, do dinner, go to sleep, and then it's easy to fall into that trap. And although I have like extracurriculars and stuff like that, it's still, there's something that I needed to do to kind of continue learning, continue to keep my mind sharp, stay curious, and continue to grow. I think that it helps with just life in general. Like for me, taking this course, the data science course, it wasn't to change careers or anything like that. All I did was looked at it and said, okay, here's something cool to learn, and how can I apply it to what I'm learning today or what I'm doing today for my job? That's what I would say. Like, why keep learning? Doing that to continue to stimulate your mind, I guess.
So what's next for you? You've done the certificate. What happens now?
Yeah, I don't know. I was actually contemplating. There's a follow-up certificate that is around the data science stuff. So I'm contemplating looking into that. It revolves more around the AI portion of it. So looking into that, but also taking what I've learned so far, and I'm taking pieces of it and trying to apply it into the things that we're doing at work right now, just to see if we can get that going and started.
We talked a bit before this around the balance of work and studies. What would be one tip you'd give someone thinking about going into the certificate you did to help them balance out their workload?
That's a tough one. It was tricky. To be honest, it was very tricky to balance out everything. It was constantly doing work and then going home and then doing schoolwork and so forth. I would say in order to balance it out, just one thing, have fun with it. I think what helped for me was meeting some of the other people in the group, joining, like forming a group, and then like studying together and doing those types and learning together. It kind of makes time go by faster. You kind of learn and balance at the same time a lot of stuff instead of just constantly cramming and looking at the books and keeping your head down.
So like those kind of little informal groups that you found, do you find that you still are in touch with any of those people?
Yeah, definitely I'm in touch with a couple of them. Yeah.
That's great to hear. Well, thank you so much.
All right.
And have a great night. And now we have Rachana. Rachana, we got it, perfect. All right, so I believe you have a couple questions for me. So actually we'll start with, so why is today's event meaningful to you?
So I actually am a UFT alumni, and so it feels great being back here again as a continuing studies graduate, I think. And yeah, it's nice to see how much work University of Toronto puts in for their students, for their ex-students, and feels great being back.
So what did you take for undergrad?
I took Business Technology Management, the DEM program,
And for the certificate from continuing studies you took?
the Business Analysis.
So why did you decide to take this certificate? What does it mean to you?
I actually got a job as a business analyst, and I was looking to learn more. And as a graduate, you get one free course, and I took the Tools and Techniques course, and I loved that course so much that I'm like, boom, let's go ahead and learn more.
Are there any instructors in particular that stood out to you? Maybe you want to give them a shout out?
Elaine and Tom, I love you guys. If they're there.
And is there anyone in, say, your family or friend group that supported you through the certificate you want to give a shout out to?
I mean, I found out that you came up with the confidence quizzes idea, so I owe you a thank you. But besides that, my family and my friends that are here, they were here last time, so I just want to say thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Have a great night. And now we have Ignacio. Hi. So Ignacio, why is it important to never stop learning?
Well, from the personal perspective, the brain is like a muscle, so you have to exercise regularly so it keeps in shape. But nowadays, given the environment so aggressive, you need to get preparation, get up to date continuously. Competency, it's very aggressive, so you need to stay up to shape.
So what's next for you then?
Well, next, since the last class for the data science certificate starts the artificial intelligence certificate, that is next.
So you're going to keep going with it.
Yes.
And so how do you see this fitting into your future career goals?
Well, it fits perfectly because it's giving me the chance to leap forward from what I'm doing now into what is the edge It's not hype. AI, it's here. We see applications, and it's gonna give us a lot of work for years to come.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming out. Thank you. Have a good night. Hello, and now we have Victoria.
Good evening. Good evening.
And what certificate did you do?
I did project management with Mississauga campus.
So now that you've finished your certificate, what's one piece of advice you would give to someone considering taking continuing studies?
In general, as soon as people graduate, very often they think that, okay, I'm done, my career is ahead. But the more you work, in more professional fields you find yourself, you understand that you need to go higher. And this higher, there is very tough competition, right? And definitely there is tough competition for universities and colleges as well. There are lots of, I would say, certificates of the same kind offered by competitors. But when I chose, I had some criteria for me. And number one was high standard of education and brand name. UFT gave it to me, but as soon as I completed, I had absolute feeling of satisfaction that whatever I was taught by my absolutely wonderful instructors, I could apply this in the very first minute. And I really want to give a message to all those people who think where to go. Do not hesitate, go to UFT. It's really worth it. And just to prove my words, right now I'm doing one more degree with UFT as well. So this is Lean Six Sigma. So I never stop, guys. Thank you very much for that.
That's amazing. That was actually an amazing answer. Thank you so much. So is there anyone you want to maybe give a shout out to that supported you while you were doing your certificate?
Frankly speaking, just all three instructors that worked with me, they really supported me. So this is, the first course was with Ron Courtwell, the second was with Cecilia Desmond, and the third one, which I did, was Jor Osgood. So thank you very much. So if you see me, if you hear me, thank you.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. And have a great evening. And now we have Faten. Did I get that right?
Correct. Yeah.
Perfect. And what certificate did you do?
Project management.
And I believe you have a question for me. So why is it important to never stop learning?
That's a good question. See, information and life long time ago, it used to be stagnant, so it did not change much. So learning was a kind of destination. Nowadays, everything is changing so rapidly. Information is changing on sometimes maybe on hourly basis, you know, every maybe 72 minutes or 72 hours, whatever it is. And when we say the change is information, it's the environment, the economic, surrounding everything. So if we want to be on par with what's going on in the world, then we have to approach life in a learning attitude. And learning starts from the minute we are born until the minute we leave this mortal life.
Learning is the journey.
It is a journey. It is not a destination anymore. Otherwise, we can be in a cocoon and we will not be able to adapt to what's going on around us. So for this reason, learning, of course, can happen in the classroom. Learning can be in our relationship with people. Learning can be on all avenues. The thing is, I think learning needs humility. You have to be humble enough to approach life in a learning mode and not to say, I've achieved that and I know everything. Because once I do that, I will stop growing.
Absolutely. So is there any tips you would give to someone considering taking continuing studies on how to balance out their life? Because I understand that you're also an instructor.
Yes, that's right. The tip that I would like to give is when we talk about balance, is not balance in every moment in life. Like if we cannot capture our life and say, now I want to balance life and work. Balance happens, it's like, it depends where time is needed mostly. So for example, if I'm focusing on my study, perhaps I can put a bit of pressure on myself when work-wise, and then I focus my energy on the study. But after a while, that I can perhaps focus more on work and study less. This is how I achieve balance. It's milestones, and every milestone we have to know where our energy is needed mostly. It's like a plant. When the plant is growing, all the energy goes to the tip, of the plant, or to these little seedlings in order to grow. But after a while, you see this plant is well balanced, and so we are. Of course, when we talk about balance, we talk about our intellectual, emotional, and spiritual, the mind, heart, and spirit. So we always have to be mindful whatever we do that, after a while, we sit down and we reflect and to see are we really balanced. Otherwise, if we keep going in one direction, then we might be short of in our emotions or in our family life, etc.
And just really quickly, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to who supported you while you were doing your certificate?
Of course. Hi, Roshan, my husband. He really had, coped a lot with me while I was being busy. And he's the one who caused me to achieve a balanced life. Love you. Bye-bye. And my daughters as well, they're not here. They're in England.
All right, that was perfect. Thank you so much, and have a great evening. And with that, we're going to send it off and go inside for the actual ceremony, which should start in just a few minutes.
Good evening, and welcome to SCS Celebrates, an evening to honor the successes of our learners and our instructors. My name is Maureen MacDonald, and I have the great privilege of being the Dean of the School of Continuing Studies here at the University of Toronto. Okay, we'll put this on pause for the moment. So SCS Celebrates, take two. Good evening and welcome to SCS Celebrates, an evening to honor the successes of our learners and our instructors. My name is Maureen MacDonald, and I have the great privilege of being the Dean of the School of Continuing Studies here at the University of Toronto. As we begin, we wish to acknowledge this land in which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and most recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit River. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are very grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. This is the second year we are coming together to celebrate the achievements of our learners and instructors at SCS Celebrates. And I have to tell you, sitting up here is an enormous privilege. Not only do we get to meet each and every one of you, we get to look out at the support of family and friends who have also contributed to your success and achievements. Continuing your education takes a special kind of dedication, taking courses in the evening, studying at night after a day at work and with family responsibilities, embarking on a topic that is completely new to you with little or no previous knowledge, connecting with new people and developing new networks. Sometimes, in winters like ours, it's even a challenge getting to campus. As you all know, pursuing continuing education is both incredibly challenging and rewarding, and this is what we're here to celebrate this evening. If you pay attention to the news at all, you will know that we are living the reality of a dynamic world and a rapidly changing workforce. We recognize this can cause worry. The future of work, we hear it so much. It is a buzzword that seems to find its way into every news story. We hear about the impact of the digital economy, as well as the role of artificial intelligence in our daily lives, and jobs that are likely to become automated in the coming years. There's certainly an excitement in the air, but also some concern. What will happen to me, to my family, to my loved ones, when the very nature of our work and careers will change? Well, I have good news for you. You folks are already ahead of the curve. You are the people who are going to weather this storm and contribute to positively changing your world and the future of work. It's not just because of the technical knowledge and skills you have acquired and developed, but because you have demonstrated your openness to change and a commitment to lifelong learning. Of course, we can't promise you the future will be easy, but with focus, drive, determination, and an openness to change and innovation, we have the power to collectively determine our futures. Tonight, we are celebrating both the achievements of our learners and our instructors. For our learners, this is a culmination of many hours of hard work and dedication. Completing your certificate is a significant achievement, and we're delighted that this evening's celebration, SCS Celebrates, has been greeted with such an enthusiastic response. Over the 2 nights, we will be recognizing over 650 learners, and in some ways, we are recognizing the support of the people around them in achieving this milestone this week. While we are so thrilled that each of you have made the effort to be with us, we are particularly touched by those of you and your guests who have crossed international boundaries to join us. They have come from far away to be with us. If you see someone wearing a small blue flower on their shirt or blouse, this signifies that they have traveled across borders to be with us this evening. I encourage you to introduce yourself and welcome them to our great city and university. Recognizing our learners is only part of the reason we're here this evening. Tonight, we will honor 10 of our accomplished instructors who are the recipients of the 2018 Excellence in Teaching Awards. Our instructors are professionals who work and are leaders in their chosen fields. They bring their experience to your real or virtual classrooms to help you learn about what is happening right now and what trends are emerging in your workplace, your industries, or your profession. These talented instructors are also committed to lifelong learning, and many of them make the same sacrifices to teach at SCS. Through pre-recorded messages, you will get to hear from all 10 winners tonight, and it should become apparent why you, the learners, have selected these recipients for recognition. It's also important to celebrate these award winners alongside you, because neither of you would be where you are without the other. The future may be uncertain, but with our exceptional instructors guiding us and the support of our family and friends, there's really no limit to what we can achieve. Our instructors and our learners are demonstrating the value in continuing to build a knowledge base, in exploring new concepts, or in challenging themselves for personal or professional growth. Let's get on with recognizing their success. And while this ceremony may seem a bit formal, it's become the pattern here that if you want to give a shout out to your family member or your friend that's crossing the stage, we wouldn't frown upon that as well. So enjoy the evening.
Good evening and welcome, everyone. My name is Gordon Davies, and I have the pleasure to be the Program Director for Arts and Science and Languages and Translation. I'm very happy to say that some of the certificate holders this evening are in Languages and Translation. I will be your MC this evening. Last night, the Master of Ceremonies was my colleague Chrissy Collins, who is an extremely dynamic person and a great athlete. She generated huge enthusiasm in Convocation Hall yesterday by comparing the event to a Raptors victory, in which the winners, of course, were not a basketball team, but you certificate earners, and the fans were you friends and family. And it was like a Jurassic Park event in here by the end of the evening. I, unfortunately, I am a much more boring person, and the enthusiasm will not come from me tonight, but from you. You certificate earners who have worked so hard and who are so excited to have your achievements marked tonight, and then you, the friends and family, who have accompanied your friends, your family, as they worked towards their goal. So I look forward to hearing from you as you applaud and thank them. A few details before we get started. The time is quite tightly scheduled, so we will move along quickly. We're going to give out over 300 certificates tonight and recognize 10 recipients of the Excellent in Teaching Awards. A few details. We would ask you to hold your applause until each group has finished passing in front of the dignitaries and receiving their handshake. At the end of each group, then of course we can applaud and even cheer if you'd like. Please refrain from standing on your seats to take any photographs. The seats are fragile, you don't want an accident. And we have very skilled professional photographers here who will be photographing everyone who comes up on the stage. After you've received the certificate there, please return to your seats here out of respect for the other students who are also receiving their certificates. Last, we had lots of children last night, and some of them were as excited as the adults. There was a young girl over there who called out, "Mama, Mama," to her mother there the whole evening. Don't worry if your children make noise. I know that you students did a lot of your homework to the sound of children making noise and crying, so it's appropriate that they should be here too as you receive your certificate. No need to take them out of the hall if they're getting a little fussy. Good, let's begin then. The first group of learners to recognize tonight are the recipients of certificates in business analysis, business process management, energy management, and international project management. Sucheta Abi. Rajesh Abi. Maher Al-Mohammad. Huma Abdul Razak. Paul Beichan. Susan Castillo. Ashraf Daoud. Ketan Desai. Karen Garcia Ocampo. Adil Gobriel. Sohini Ghosh. Dina Hakim. Selina Huim. Huzefa Imani. Masato Ishiguro. Gabriela Lurero. Aswati Matthew. Sidhi Nim. Nidhi Odra. Jonathan Ong. Uma Pragadishram. Prapul Prakash. Arshi Raman, Dmitry Shetman, Anuj Sani, Rahmana Sai, Juan Pablo Salgado Castro, Sadat Rahman Sheikh, Ramandeep Singh, Nir Sirohi, Alina Makukina, Nima Badavian, Manjula Verma, Leandro Lulu, Emmanuel Madwaguana, Yusuf Sanaula, Elnaz Sharif, Ayushi Vispute, Vihar Vidradia, Susan Yu,
Well, it's really people. I have met so many wonderful people in my travels, and because I love learning as well, it's wonderful for me to be able to help others along their journey, find out what inspires them, how they learn best, and just help them achieve their goals in life.
Well, my mother is an English teacher, and when I was in grade 5, I think I was inspired by her, and I was surrounded by books, and I decided in grade 5 that I wanted to be an English teacher and a writing teacher. And the thing that I love about teaching is the interaction with other human beings, is the interaction with students, the opportunity to share knowledge, and the opportunity to actually change lives and transform lives with that knowledge. I think 100% engagement by both the teacher and the students, a willingness to learn, a decision to move beyond one's fixed mind and to be open to suggestion and new ideas.
It would be that the learner's emotional state is critical to successful learning. So my job is to make sure that I create a really safe environment where everybody feels comfortable so that they can take the risks that are necessary for language learning. Well, I try to give them a lot of advice, but I think the most important is to never be afraid of making mistakes. It's just a natural part of mastering a language, and I want them to just try things so that I can tell them when they're right and give them better ways to do things when they do make a mistake.
Be brave, be courageous. There's always a learning period when you're trying to learn something new. To be open to both constructive criticism and to praise, and to trust yourself, have faith in yourself, and be open to learning.
The second group of recipients of certificates are those in Lean Six Sigma, and I'm very proud to say those who are recipients in languages. The following languages: Brazilian Portuguese, Cantonese, Mandarin, Dutch, French, Italian, Japanese, Korean, Practical French, Teaching Korean as an additional language, translation into Chinese, translation into French, translation into Korean, translation into Portuguese, and translation into Spanish. Lindley Bacudio. Cameron Chandler. Janice Chung. Stephanie Chu. Angustias Cremades. Steve Engel. Alessio Galletti. Shahabuddin Eslami. Emilou Garbe. Carmen Gerodi. Peter Gomez. Carolyn Harris. Chris Hermo. Marta Horban. Michelle Kim. Elena Laskavtseva. George Liang. Eduardo Macedo de Madeiros. Carla Pozubon. Emma Riam. Varun Sharma. Heather Shulley. Nancy Stringer. Christine Shafran. Jordan Teufel. Roxanne Veillette. Janet Vincent. Jillian Watts. Anna Monastirska. Yunsum Edmund Wong.
Really, it's my students. On a personal level, I enjoy mentoring and coaching individuals, and many of my students come to my class not only for the lessons, but also they ask me questions around my own experience with business, with accounting, etc., which are the areas of focus that I teach. So really it is the students and helping them as they journey along their career aspirations that drives me and inspires me as an individual. I really believe that connecting real-world learning for students within the classroom creates that transformative learning experience. And how I do that is by including real-world news articles that are relevant to the materials we're covering each week within the classroom discussion. Students are exposed to business concepts that directly relate to textbook learning in a way that I believe connects and prepares them better for when they leave the classroom for the working world, basically. The key piece of advice I share with my learners is to keep their goals in mind as they work through our program, my course, the courses they have to come. By keeping that end goal in mind, I tell them that it's easier for them to focus on what their efforts are working towards in a way that if they feel frustrated at how long the work is taking or the amount of work they're challenged by, that goal should still give them the drive to get through it. Because, you know, that goal of a better life, a better job, a better standard of living for their family, whatever that is, that's an important goal to keep in mind.
So our third group then is the recipients of certificates in Advanced Business Process Management, Advanced Project Management, Applied Project Management, Building Science, Data Science, Facilities Management, and Management of Enterprise Data Analytics. Ali Afsahi. Courtney Andrews. Ankur Agarwal. Wendy Broad. Bharti Bhardwaj. Bisma Butt. Gabriel Cardenas Gomez. Sinan Koprolyu. Stephen Chu. Ovidiu Kozubas. Raktim Gosal. Bernard Edwards. Cesar Galarreta. Darrell Hewitt. Sunil Jacob. James Kanu. Wasim Javad. Angela Jiang. Julia Cramreether. Dwight Lewis. Bing Angela Lee. David Mangai Bengue. Jesse Matchett. Evelyn Miao. Alec Miller. Janet Navarro. Melissa Oziol. Shanna Pritchard. Rama Rai.
Namaste. This one is because of my husband, Mohit Verma. Thank you.
Min Shen. Anil Syed. Amir Soleimani. Raj Panna. Ignacio Ruiz. Jie Tang. Dragoljub Milčić. Vladimir Taubes. Amber Lee Thomas. Guy Tony. Mimi Torabi. Raimundo Viloria. Jenny Young.
I've always had a passion in teaching and education. I spent a lot of time learning Mandarin myself, so I enjoy sharing my experiences and what I've learned from my own learning journey with students. I always enjoy sharing stuff I come across, whether it's a TV series or an interesting book. Anything that enhances my own learning experience, I'm always interested in sharing with other people.
I love lesson planning. I love the content, figuring out what I'm going to teach, how I'm going to teach it, what the boards are going to look like, and how the flow is going to happen. But there is a quote from Jim Scrivener, and he said, prepare thoroughly, but in class, teach the learner, not the plan. And that to me has changed how I approach things. It's that moment in class when you are actually teaching with that individual or in the class, be in that moment. That's the critical time.
It's a pleasure to teach these students because they're so interested in the subject matter. They have a lot of self-motivation when learning, so they spend a lot of time outside of class practicing the material, incorporating in their own lives, and then they bring it into the classroom. So it makes the lessons a lot more interesting. We have a lot more interaction in the classroom, and I feel that throughout, because they're interested in the material, they take away more from the in-class learning experience.
Teaching and continuing education allows me to meet the most committed learners that you can imagine. They are there every week, 3 hours, working hard, but they have full lives, they're busy at home, with friends, and yet they choose to take those 3 hours every week and really focus on their own educational goals. And that's commitment.
As with learning languages, it's important to set short-term goals to measure your progress. It's also very important to be consistent with your learning. Rather than study for several hours during one day, it's better to split up the time and study every day. That way it becomes one of your everyday routines, and it just gets incorporated into your life.
I encourage learners to bring something to the table. Bring something every class, some information, something to share, your concerns, your thoughts, your ideas, and share those. Because when we do that in the class together, we create a safe learning environment. And from there, everybody can grow.
The next group is from our largest program in the school, Project Management. Mernaz Amani. Christina Andrews. Kiran Anwar. Faten Ardekani. Rita Byrne. Rashmi Bahide. Lisa Bifano. Lynette Chung. Vania Della Torre. Justin DaCosta. Maria Elizabeth Granda. Nikki Jalelis. Karen Jalelis. Grant Harvey. Carolina Hernandez. Victoria Caviazzina. Manuel Lagos. Jonathan Lamb. Nadine Lewis. Evelyn Lima Fernandez. Tamika Loudon. Elaine Maloney. Melissa Medalla. Tanya Morton. Mary Claudette Palomares. Geraldine Peru. Dan Pinese. Kuram Rehman. Ramon Rodriguez. Karen Uroz. Maria Eugenia Gonzalez. Lorna Sabilano. Olga Serebrenik. Derek Shimosh. Anand de Troja. Joseph Solangon. Lisa Shutu. Jane Traguicana. Calvin Tang. Bremily Yui. Viteri Nelson Roberto. Shankar Shiukmazan.
Well, when I was at university, I had a lot of really great teachers, and some of them, you know, it was a long time ago, and I still remember them today. They had a real impact on me, and I love teaching, and I just think that if I could have even a slight fraction of that impact on, you know, one of my students at some point, I'd be very, very lucky.
One where the student discovers the knowledge instead of somebody trying to feed it to them. I don't think that you can transform yourself until you truly understand what the concept is. And that's an individual endeavor. It's not something that I can give to a student. I can aid them in acquiring that knowledge, but in the end, they have to have their own aha moment.
I tell them to be bold and to take risks. Get out of your comfort zone and, you know, try something a little different. If you've never experienced it before, you may well find that it's a passion that you didn't even know you had.
That I have an expert blind spot and that it is a deficit for my students. Because I know my topic so well, I've forgotten what it's like to learn the topic when you don't know anything. I've forgotten what it's like to build a knowledge structure in your head from a basis of absolute nothing. And so when I teach, sometimes I speak up here when they need me to be teaching down here. And I have to constantly be aware of what it's like to be a student on the other side of the table and not know anything at all. I need to make sure that when I speak, I'm aware of my blind spot and I make accommodations for it.
Well, I'm a big believer in community engagement, and I feel that teaching in a continuing studies context really does allow me to sort of experience a cross-section of community views. I think that continuing education programs really do attract and reflect a true cross-section of those perspectives in any given community.
I think we live in a phenomenal country where we're allowed to transform ourselves on a regular basis, and continuing education allows us to do that. As an adult, I went back to school. As an adult, my mother went back to school when she was 42 to become a nurse. I went back to school to get a Bachelor of Education when I was 45. This country allows us to do that, and it's a phenomenal thing. So continuing education allows us to transform ourselves all the time. I want to be a part of that.
And our last group this evening are recipients of certificates in cloud computing, cybersecurity management, enterprise architecture, leadership essentials, mobile business technologies and applications, operations and supply chain management, strategic management of enterprise IT, and user experience design. MD Asaduzmani. Nejme Baturi. Joan Becker. Abdul Rehman Baban. Subhashini Bhaskaran. Bruno Campos. Rajesh Cherian. Gemma Degas. Lana Elikova. Mayara Felix. Salman Haider. Anatole Farber. Eslam Matvali. Catherine Heiher. Neil Jane. Colin Leung. Diga Ismail Nalai. Mandeep Singh. Gopinath Sivaraja. Walter Spicer. Damir Sudarevich. Chad Szymanski. Luis Ernesto Zambrano.
to see that moment of discovery with my students, to take a subject like statistics that may have been a bit dry or may have been a bit difficult for them, and to find a way to get them to engage. That's something I never get tired of.
I teach largely because it makes me happy. When the classroom is percolating, when people are learning, when ideas are being exchanged, I feel fantastic.
The biggest lesson I've learned is that the way that I would learn something is not necessarily the best approach for my students. So I have to come up with a few ways of explaining things, making sure that they're understanding it at the level that I want them to understand it, but not necessarily in the same way that I would engage with it. So that's one of the most challenging aspects, but also one of the most rewarding.
That you're never good enough, and that's a good thing. You should always work at it. You shouldn't get complacent. When I started teaching English in a private school in the area, I was with a bunch of new teachers, and we noticed we would have one good day, one bad day. Sometimes the bad days were in inverse proportion to the good days. So if you had a great day, you had a terrible day following that. And the lesson was, you are not ever good enough. So you haven't killed it, and you have to keep working on it. Groundwork on behalf of the teacher. Letting the students know what the tone you're expecting is, how they're to approach it, the kind of things they're going to share, and how they will treat each other.
To make something transformative, you have to truly get the students to engage. You have to get them to get out of their comfort zone a little bit, to use media that they may not necessarily be used to. So in order to get them to absorb it, you have to kind of present it to them in a way that they haven't seen before. So shake things up, use a combination of different ways of explaining things to people, find a way to get them to debate and have dialogue. That's what I found to be truly transformative. The thing I always try to make clear to the students in my class is to see me as a resource. See me as someone they can always approach, always come to. It's a difficult thing to manage work, life, and school. And so I want them to see me as someone they can come to for any aspects of their understanding, and see their own other classmates as a resource as well.
I talk about failure. Everyone fails, personally, professionally, sometimes both. Failure can be transformative or it can be devastating. So I talk about it. I'm someone who's failed, and I talk about how to weather it, how to use it, how to learn from it, and how to make it a transformative experience.
So congratulations to all of you. Let's give yourselves a hand. Before my official closing remarks, I'd like to invite the recipients of the 2018 Excellence in Teaching Awards to the stage. We will call the award winners alphabetically by name. When your name is called, please join Christy on the stage to receive your award and pose for a photo. Just for some of you to know, we gave out some of the awards last night, so there are not 10 of us with you tonight. I think we have 3 of the recipients with us. So our first winner and the recipients of the 2018 Excellence in Teaching Award, we have Terry Compton from the English Language Program. We have Ephraim Clamp, Languages and Translation. And David Tortel, Arts and Science. So please join me in giving a round of applause for this achievement. So I hope you take some time to reflect back on this learning journey and your accomplishments. While the feeling is still fresh, I encourage you to think about what is next in your learning journey. How can you build on your success and continue to thrive? As you collected your certificate, you were given a swag bag. Inside, you'll find our brand new 2019-20 calendars, which were recently released. Take some time to read the captivating learner and instructor stories. You'll find inspiration and maybe recognize a few friends. So I ask you, what's next? Take some time to figure out over the coffee or tea, using the gift card in your bag. And when you're ready for your next round of learning, use the SCS $100 gift certificate towards your next course with us, or share with someone that you think might benefit from the gift of learning. I'm sure it's no surprise to any of you here to realize that it takes a village to stage an event like this. So a quick moment to recognize the teams of people that were instrumental in pulling this off. Academic and Campus Events, Academic and Campus Events Tech Support, Scotiabank Information Commons, U of T Facilities and Services, Office of Convocation Hall, Santa Guida Fine Foods. Lastly, our amazing SCS Squad, a team of 25 staff members who have helped bring this event to life. Thank you to all of you. Whether you're joining us tonight to receive your certificate, or are a guest or an instructor, you've taken the steps towards being a member of the SCS learning community. I continue to be inspired by all of you, and thank you for choosing the School of Continuing Studies. On that note, the formal portion of the evening is drawing to a close. Before we conclude the formal portion of our celebration and move to the plaza tent for our reception, it's tradition that these events conclude with the singing of our national anthem. I would ask everyone, if you are able, to stand and join in the singing of O Canada, led by our friend of, and hopefully soon-to-be learner, learner at SCS, Heather Rowland.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot